The moon is not there when we don't look at it. It's not exactly at that position, has not defined its position. It's not that we don't know, it's that it can be in a superposition and therefore has not defined. So the fact that things may exist that have no properties that are defined is really discomfortable.
So Roger Penrose, hopefully I'm correct about this, he has this theory which I think nobody really has any way to support yet, but that the brain is quantum, the microtubules in the brain are like 10 nanometers in diameter and maybe can hold quantum state. Can you opine on this, whether the human brain has some form of quantum computing?
Yes, we have heard about that, of course, and it's very speculative. And if you think a little bit about that, just a little bit, then you see that it's very difficult. That something like that is reality, because we know the quantum effects are very difficult to observe, or that they have consequences. The brain is at finite temperature, at normal room temperature, and so on. However, Penrose is a very clever person who has made many visionary statements. And so maybe it's something that he's seeing that we don't see yet and may happen in the future. So I would say that at the moment, I don't see how this can work. And there are many people don't see how this can work, but it may happen that there is something behind that that's more important that we don't see at the moment.
And the biggest difficulty is that it's at room temperature and it's all each component is bathed in water and being knocked around.
It's difficult to think how quantum effects could be observed and could have consequences at that level. And if they would have consequences, it would be very interesting by itself, because it would tell us that we can use, let's say, quantum physics in some environment that we don't know that it works. And so that's, you see, that's at this at this temperature with so many degrees of freedom and so on, that typically are away from that when we want to observe quantum phenomena. If they appear in the, say, normal life, then it would be extremely interesting, apart from the consequences that he's proposing, which is more related to perception and consciousness and things like that, which is a different story, which is interesting on its own.
The attractive thing about it, although I also can't imagine how it would work, is that biology doesn't require understanding. So it can evolve to use whatever physics is available without understanding it. So even if the physics is almost ununderstandable or unintelligible, it can still be used just by trial and error. Okay, unless you guys have any other questions, I have one final stupid question. Okay. All right, so working on quantum physics most of your life, does it cause any discomfort or like religious feelings or anything like that? Just how confusing and strange it is, or maybe it's not confusing to you, but just how different it is from normal experience. How do you sleep at night? You know, is it like a religious thing? Is it just we take it how it is, or like how do you feel comfortable with the kind of counterintuitive or bizarre behavior of all these systems? That's nothing like your daily experience.
For me, it has nothing to do with religion, but it's uncomfortable in the way that it changes the way that we look at nature. So it's not that things exist and are defined whenever we don't observe. And this, of course, has very strong consequences that I'm not able to understand. And I hope that at some point we will be able to understand. So what is the consequence of the laws of quantum physics? So they are very discomfortable, some of them. But we have to live with them, because this is what it is. It's what nature dictates. But they're really discomfortable. What is discomfortable is that according to quantum physics, yes, put it in the words of Einstein, the moon is not there when we don't look at it. It's not exactly at that position. It has not defined its position. It's not that we don't know. It's that it can be in a superposition and therefore has not defined. So the fact that things may exist that have no properties that are defined, it's really discomfortable, and that's what physics tells you. And it's a weird thing that we have to live with that, but it's not really 100% comfortable.
I would say it's actually quite amazing, the fact that we learn these rules of quantum mechanics in our classes, and we teach them also, and there's a certain set of axioms that seems completely strange to some extent. But I would say that all of us have the same experience, that you learn these things and you learn them like the rules of some game maybe. But then you find out that by working in physics and working with nature and observing natures and then coming up with ideas, and they are realized in nature, that these rules somehow apply. And this is an amazing experience, that we might have some deep questions about the foundations and interpretation of quantum mechanics. We can nonetheless play this game where we can design something in nature based on these rules, and it seems to be really true. Like building a quantum computer, even though on some level all of us feeling a little bit uncomfortable about interpretation of quantum mechanics and so on. But it seems to work. Okay, so from a practical point of view, it comes to quantum computing, we get a practical answer. It doesn't mean that we really understand whatever understanding here means.
Yeah, Mike, when it comes to that, you can just think, shut up and calculate. Yeah, just do it.
But like John Bell was saying, shut up and calculate from Monday to Saturday, but Sunday, just think.